Welcome to another edition of the DAMY vlog. My name is Dr. David Duizer. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today on the show we're talking about emotional eating. On this show we cover all things holistic health and wellness related. If you're interested in that topic, please subscribe, like this video, and you'll see more of it. Emotional eating. It's extremely common. It's one of the main causes of weight gain and I would say really one of the main causes of our society being mostly overweight. Emotional eating is extremely prevalent, and many of us just don't know that we do it. So I'd like to start today by saying that it's important to know that emotional eating is not a lack of self-discipline. It really isn't. It's more of a lack of self-awareness and a lack of self-care. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, number one, it's a lack of self-awareness in the sense that we might not know we're stress eating when we do it. It just might not be clicking. It might just be something that we turn to. It might be a habit that we have formed just over a long period of time. And we might be missing of it. You know, we're in an age of we're all very connected to each other, but we're not so connected with ourselves. We're not so aware of our bodies. And this lack of self-awareness can really lead to emotional eating. The other thing in that category is, in the sense of lack of self-awareness, there may not be other things in life that bring us a sense of calm, a sense of joy. Food brings many of us a sense of joy and definitely a sense of calm in many different circumstances. So that lack of joy, that lack of interest, that lack of positivity happening in life, that void can be filled with food. Easy, easy, easy. So in this lack of self-awareness space, those things could be happening. Habit formed, not knowing that we're doing it, just not clicking, and not having anything else that brings us this sense of joy. Food might be the only thing. We've been conditioned to love sugar, salt, and fat, especially the combination of the three together, and it definitely settles our brain for a short period of time. So that's number one. The second component of this is a lack of self-care. It's not a lack of self-discipline, it's a lack of self-care. Under that headline, under that feature of lack of self-care, really emotional eating can be just the fact that we're not thinking long-term about our health. You know, metabolic syndrome and diseases of metabolic syndrome are very, very, very slow. They take a long time to come on. That's why type 2 diabetes, cancer, these are things of middle age. These are things that take a long time to brew. Cardiovascular disease, it takes a long time to brew. The number one killer, cardiovascular disease, takes a long time to get going. This process of laying down plaque, the plaque becoming larger, the plaque becoming inflamed, that takes a long time. So we don't notice it as it goes. The only markers we have are blood sugar control, weight, and some subjective measures like mood and sleep and energy and these type of things. So, you know, it's very, very slow burning. We might just not be thinking long term. That's a lack of self-care. The other thing under this heading, under this component here, lack of self-care, is we may not have experienced metabolic disease or you know, really, really sad disease in our family, or not have been through it with a family member. We may have been perfectly healthy for our entire life. We might not have the experience to be thinking even about self-care. Like even when there's metabolic disease in the family, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, we may not be thinking, hey, that could happen to me. And what are the modifiable risk factors I need to be thinking about so that it doesn't happen? That may not even cross the radar. And therefore, emotional eating is just, number one, we might not be knowing that we do it. Number two, we might not even be thinking about our long-term wellness. And I would suggest that we need to be doing that. So it's not a lack of self-discipline, it's a lack of self-awareness and a lack of self-care, the combo of the two. So what do we need to be doing? Well, there's only a couple things I'll leave you with today. If you're an emotional eater, if you're trying to get away from emotional eating, is number one, get to know yourself. Start to practice self-awareness. Start to practice the getting to know how we feel after we eat these foods. That's number one. In that same category, start to get to know what we do when we feel stressed. So when you're heading for what you would consider junk food or maybe an overeating episode, just check in like, hey, am I stressed right now? Am I over consuming because I'm actually stressed? The other component of self-care is to start writing down what you're eating. Like, just do a journal of 2 or 3 days. This is Amy's favorite thing to do with her clients. It's like, just do 3 days of eating, just write it down, and we'll just review it together and see what it is. No judgment, let's just go over it. Doing that for yourself once in a while can be really helpful. Of course, I'm like, okay, you got to count your calories, you got to count your carbs, just like go through the details. Amy's totally not for that. Just see what fits, see what you've done, and then we'll just non-judgmentally go after it. I totally appreciate that. So in terms of self-awareness, just objectively look at what you ate over the last 3 days. I think that's important too. And then the second aspect of this, so that's self-awareness, and then in self-care terms, get into a zone of self-care once a day, every day. Do something for your long-term wellness every single day. It can be really simple, like 2 minutes of meditation. It can be, something super, super basic. It can be exercise. I'm going to do 30 minutes of movement every single day. And what happens from this, what flow, a lot of people in our neighborhood or in our community, they do like a healthy smoothie with greens and fiber. They do it every single day. What flows from this one act of self-care is the domino effect. Then you make a good lunch choice. Then you make a good relationship choice. Then you have some great conversation. Then you have great interactions. Then you sleep better. Then you focus on keeping your stress low using other things. Then you do things for yourself. Just by doing one act, it can cause this domino effect. Like, hey, I'm going to do a bunch of things that make me feel good because this one act really set it off. So I'll leave you with those 2 things today. Emotional eating is something we all need to check in with and make sure that we're not consistently participating in. I would suggest that it's really, really important for metabolic health long term, and I hope that you got some value from this video. And if you're an emotional eater, I hope you'll check in with yourself and take some steps to get away from it. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dr. David Duizer. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like videos like this, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.